It's official. Batman's got superpowers. All right. So, welcome to another edition of Rick's Flicks Reviews. This time, the spoiler video. So, be warned, this is the spoiler video for Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. So, hello, movie fans. Welcome once again to what's probably going to be the last video in a long time because I have to go back to work tomorrow. I know. Another apology. I don't usually like to wear the headset, um, but because of the sound, I'm gonna. Sometimes when I hold the mic down here, the audio is not that faithful, and I want to use my hands. So, uh, okay. So today I want to give you a few things. What's positive, what's negative, what's so-so, but also um, the message, that third level of storytelling in every story when it comes to this particular movie. And it's one of the reasons why Rixflix was founded. Even though it's movie news, reviews, and everything that has to do with films, filmmaking, and usually that means Hollywood, um, this is trying to be a Christian ministry. So I'm also going to try to give you that spiritual angle to the movie. All right, so here we go. I've seen the movie twice now, and usually when you watch movies more than one time, the more you watch them, the better they get. This one, the more I watch, the more I don't like. And that's sad because I really, really, really wanted to love this movie. I went in it wanting to love it because I really didn't like Man of Steel that much. And I've talked about it in other videos and the reasons why. So I really wanted this one to work. I mean, it's no secret. Superman's my dude. He's the number one guy. I love him for many reasons that I'm not gonna go into today. But so I really wanted this movie to be rocking and to be awesome. Um, so I know it sounds negative off the bat, right? So let's talk about what worked for the movie. Um, Great visuals. The movie looks awesome. Zack Snyder is a great visual director. The movie has beautiful shots throughout. There are great slow-mo shots, great use of angles when it comes to the action. The action sequences look just incredible. The set design, wardrobe design, the suits look amazing. Batman looks kick butt. He looks awesome. Wonder Woman looks not just beautiful when she's Diana Prince, but she looks like really ferocious and like a real warrior when she's Wonder Woman, and she was great in the film. Henry Cavill looks like the embodiment of what our collective consciousness makes of Superman. He's the closest human being to what Jim Lee uh, does in the way he illustrates Superman. He just looks great. Um, the score, once again, maybe it's not as good as Man of Steel's or as the Batman trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, but it's still really, really, really good. Um, I like the themes. I like the Wonder Woman theme. Even the Lex Luthor theme is way better than Lex Luthor, and I'm gonna get into that. Um, so everything is working in the sense of the parts that you need to make a movie good. Talking to some of my students I work in a school, and last week we were talking about storytelling and three different levels of every movie, book, or TV show. And the first level being the visuals, the sounds, everything that makes the visual and auditory experience of a film. Uh, that's two thumbs up for Batman v Superman. Uh, it's really, really well crafted, and you're there and you're like, wow, just looks awesome. Even now, I was like, every time the Superman came in and breaking the sound barrier, I was like, that's my guy. That's my guy. It was really, really, really great. It looks great. Not to mention the Batman fight sequences, the Batmobile, the actual fight between them. The boss fight towards the end. fighting Doomsday. Everything just is well put together, and you can definitely see why um, Zack Snyder was chosen for these type of films because he translates comic book action into screen in a really awesome way. Um, and well, the acting is really great too. For any of us who doubted how Ben Affleck was going to do as Batman, we have to eat our words. He is just awesome as Batman. He's really great. His portrayal, his physical presence, the way he portrays the character. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. All right, and that's about it. That's about it for the positives. Now, the negatives for me were actually more important than how good the movie was visually, and that was that is poor narrative. There's a lot of plot convenience when it comes to the story. Like the whole movie is called Batman v Superman, the whole Batman versus Superman. So the build-up should have been to that boss fight. Um, but it was just like everything just kind of conveniently happened. Um, but there really wasn't that much substance. Like they were trying to build that at the beginning of the film, and then the movie drags, and then by the time the fight happens, it's just like, well, I guess this is because this is what we came to see. Um, there's a lot of inconsistency between how the characters are written and then portrayed. So, for example, uh, when Superman is all powerful and he still has all of his powers, there's a scene where Batman is chasing some bad guys and Superman just flies in, and then just you see Batman's face like, oh no. They cut to him hitting the brakes, but the Superman is standing there and the Batmobile just goes like ping. Superman is just like, mm-hmm. So his power has been established, how strong he can be. Then he just flies on top of the Batmobile, rips the Batmobile like it's just a he cracks it like a eggshell, and just throws the doors away. So they have been establishing how powerful Superman is. They've been saying like he's like a god, that he could destroy the whole world if he wanted to. So, and they show scenes where he's just being super powerful, right? Okay. The fight happens, and there's like a little throwback to the gauntlet in the director's cut of Superman the movie that was cut obviously from the theatrical release. But if for those of you who've watched it, Lex kind of like gives Superman a test, and he walks through this gauntlet of guns and heat and extreme cold, uh, and Superman is just like brushing it off. This was very similar. You know, Batman starts backing down. He has this sonic weapon, and Superman just rips this steel cover, a manhole cover, and just in two and throws them. Then the machine gun fire, and he just like uses his vision and destroys everything. He pushes Batman away and everything. So they get to the part of the kryptonite grenade, right? The smoke. He grabs it, very reminiscent of The Dark Knight Returns, which is obviously where this thing comes from. A lot of visual homages to it. And I get it. All right, I'll give them that. Superman up to this point has never been exposed to kryptonite. It's the first time. So it catches him completely by surprise. He has no idea what's going on. He's getting super weak because he's inhaling this thing. All right, so Batman says like, all right, here I go. So he starts pounding on Superman. And up to this part, I don't like it, but I get it, and I'm okay with it. Um, but there comes a part where, Superman is like slowly getting his mojo back, and Batman is just like boom, and he's like ping, ding, ding. Batman is like, oh snap. Okay, this is where I messed up. I missed my window of opportunity. This is where Superman, knowing how cunning and how astute Batman is, and he's already being able to take his hits. He just could have gone like boom, ripped the armor. All your silly guns and toys are gone. Now, Bruce, listen to me. I came here for this, this, and this. End of conflict. No, he puts Batman through a wall, and they keep fighting and fighting. And this is where I'm talking about inconsistency. In this particular scene, the fight scene, um, he gives Batman enough time to reload the kryptonite grenade. He shoots him again, and he's weakened again. Um, and then towards the end, Batman's got the spear, the kryptonite spear, cuts him, and he's obviously still hurt because the cut in his face is not healing. But once Lois comes in and they save him, they do this quick shot to the bad guys where they keep Martha Kent, and they're putting on the flamethrower, and you see the clock and everything, and they cut back. In that little time, we're meant to believe that they had this conversation, and Batman is being convinced that he's been duped and that he's going to help Superman. He's like, "Oh, your mom's Martha? Mine's too. We can be friends now." Um, why couldn't just Superman do that from the beginning? Like, listen, I'm not here to fight you. This is what's going on. I need your help. All right. Now, they talk about it, and Batman is like, "No, they need you at the ship. I'll save your mother." All right. So he goes and he saves Martha. At this point, Superman's face still cut, so he's still weakened by the kryptonite. The kryptonite spear is still somewhere laying around. Um, he says goodbye to Lois, and he sonic booms out of there. Why couldn't he just sonic boom when he was still just, you know, weakened by the kryptonite, but still he hadn't been as exposed to the kryptonite spear, right? Why did he have to run and not get to Batman in time? When obviously now he's even more weak and he's able to sonic boom out there. And while they're fighting Doomsday the monster, he's still hurt and he's actually holding kryptonite flying. He gets stabbed by Doomsday. He grabs Doomsday and still manages to kill him. He wasn't that strong when he was fighting Batman. He couldn't use his words until the last time when he's like, "Martha, save Martha." It's out of character. Inconsistency when it comes to the writing. Poor writing, lazy writing. Um, we're meant to believe that Lex Luthor planned all of this, but everything just pretty much just happens. It's not like it was this big manipulation and we see this cunning, evil dude. By the way, even if Jesse Eisenberg is not playing the Lex Luthor and he's playing the son, it was horrible, man. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll admit it. I chuckled a couple of times, but it was more like, I can't believe they still went this route with the character. Um, so that was bad. Um, again, the trailer, when many people argued about the trailer and how the trailer showed so much, and then they said, "Nah, don't worry, there's plenty of surprises left." No, I was waiting for those surprises. None of that was there. Oh, we saw everything. We saw Doomsday. We knew it was coming. We knew how it was going to end, except for the part where they, of course, again, spoiler. If you've come this far and you're like, "Why are you spoiling the film?" Well, because I said this is a spoiler video. When they kill Superman, I'll give them that. That caught me by surprise. I was like, all right, you went there. You didn't have to, but you went there. All right. Um, but we know it was doomed to happen because it was Doomsday. Um, we knew that this is why they come together because it's in the trailer. So there really wasn't that much of a surprise there. And that again just talks about how the movie was more concerned about setting up the whole Justice League. For most of the movie, they're just they take you into this direction of this story. Once you're invested in that story, they take you to this other story, and then they take you to this one, and then action, and then this, and this, and this, and this. They never focused on being a standalone movie, like a good standalone movie. They just focus on, like, we gotta set up this whole universe with more heroes. Um, so that's distracting. Um, the reason I said that at the beginning is that Batman's got superpowers is because um in the last part when he's fighting the bad guys, saving Martha, um, I don't know. They never established that the suit he's wearing is either like skin tight or if it is armor. We get the impression that it's not armor. It's like a skin tight suit, and Batman is ripped. We know he has his gauntlets, he has his boots, and brass knuckles, and probably the cowl is some form of graphite or metal. But we get the impression that the suit in itself is not an armor, that he can get hurt, because there are scenes where he's shirtless and you can see scars all over his body. Um, in this fight, he gets stabbed, and he's like, "Ugh," and he stabs the bad guy. Throughout the rest of the fights, when he's facing and fighting Doomsday, um, sorry, when he's fighting well, yeah, when he's fighting Doomsday, he's jumping around, being Batman and everything, and there's never like, oh, I'm bleeding, I'm tough, but I've been stabbed. No, he's just like full on power fighting. Um, when he was wearing the mech suit, there's this part where he grabs Superman with his cable and he just throws him against some columns inside this place where he's fighting Superman. So I figure, yeah, it's because part of the suit is enhancing his strength. When he's not wearing the suit anymore, he's just in the regular bat suit, he grabs this huge crate and just like flips it with his cable like some toy. So when did Batman get superpowers? Um, Aside from the fact that they're setting up pieces for the future movies, the dreams, I don't think they're dreams. I think they're visions. And I think they're gonna somehow link this with Suicide Squad. And what's gonna happen in Suicide Squad? I think Enchantress is gonna put some sort of spell on Batman, and that's why he's getting visions. Because the movie is really fun for a fan, because it's full of Easter eggs. And there's a little Flashpoint paradox here where Flash is coming through this portal and he's Bruce, you were right about him. You were right about him all the time. Lois Lane is the key. Um, so he's looking at the future, the dream sequence in the desert. If you remember, for those of you who've seen the film, and if you're watching this, I would assume you did. Did you notice that when Superman is in the desert and he's with his binoculars and he sees this truck coming in the distance, there's the huge Omega symbol from Darkseid in the desert. So he either went into the future, and they are fighting an evil Superman, and I figure this is where Justice League's gonna go. Why would the Justice League need to assemble? I'm guessing it's not just to fight Darkseid, but at some point, a Superman turned evil. Because we see parademons and we see the flame towers. Um, so I'm thinking they're gonna do that, and I'm pretty sure these were not dreams. They are visions that Batman is having. So now he's also psychic somehow. So that was interesting. Um, that's pretty much the movie. All right. So when it comes to the movie, it's got awesome visuals, awesome acting, great design, great special effects, great music and everything. But as a narrative, the story lacked weight. Um, Part of Batman in the comics is that he's a great detective, that he's super smart, and no guns, no killing. Forget that. Batman was wasting dudes left and right. Even if they never went truly visual because they wanted to keep the movie PG-13 or something, he's just wasting fools, man. He's not wasting his ammo in deterring crime. He's just like killing people left and right. Um, So that's something that went against the Batman character. So now they have not just ruined Superman, in my opinion, they are also ruining Batman. Um, Superman never smiles in the movie except for two times. And this is a movie that features Superman, and it should be the light and the dark, the two sides of the same coin, where again Batman is more of a struggle to keep the status quo, but Superman is hopeful into the future that things can be better. No, man, this whole movie is super dark. The whole movie takes place almost exclusively always at night. The third act is happening at night, and throughout the entire movie, Superman seems sad. There's no hope, there's no joy in this film. So that kind of brought it down for me points as well. So my review for this movie, just like in the written review that I did on Rixflix, is one thumb up, one thumb down. Yep. Very positive things, but also very negative things. But in my opinion, the negatives are more important because they are narrative, they are story, they are plot consistency, they are character development. Um, and those were not as good. Those were the negatives. So for me, those count even more. um, I get it why some of you are gonna love it and some of you are gonna say, "What are you talking about? You're crazy. This movie was great. I loved it." And I'm thinking it's probably because of that. You're going to side more with the positive aspects than the negatives. I'm not a negative dude. I'm just focusing as a critic, as a trying to be professional filmmaker. Um, so for me, that part that's more important was not as good, so that's why I'm giving it the other thumb down. Now, the spiritual part. All the millions and millions of dollars they spent in this movie, I think they had an agenda, just like freaking evil Hollywood does with almost every film they put out. There's an agenda there. And the Lex Luthor agenda was that he obviously hates God. There are references throughout the entire movie on how demons don't come from beneath us, but from above. When he's going through his exposition where his father was obviously mean to him, he says, I learned that if there's a God, he can be all powerful and be good. Or either he's good, but he's not all powerful. Classic argument. If God is good, why does he allow evil things to take place? Um, there's other scene where he's facing Superman and he's like, all right, Horus, Apollo, Kal-El, Jehovah. No matter what you are, this is just a tribe thing. God is tribal. So pretty much giving us or selling the agenda that, listen, no matter what you call him, there's this hold on, my pup needs to get out. Sorry. So there's this thing where he is calling on Superman, him being this godlike figure, and how God can be all powerful, he can be all good. And if you say that your God is Jehovah, there's nothing different than those people saying that it was Apollo or Horus or whoever you think God is. He's selling the idea that there is no God, or if there is a God, then God is not good. Um, that's very scary because that's what they're trying to sell. There's also references to the cube, and I've been doing some research on that. I would suggest you do your own research. What does the cube represent? The Tesseract. There's a representation of a cube when they do one of the cameos for Cyborg and the rest of the Justice League. So all of those things are really scary that they're putting in this film. Um, there's also a part where Superman says Superman was never real. And he's like, no one can stay good in this world. Uh, if man won't kill God, then the devil will do it. So there's a lot of references of us, the humanity, should be hating any godlike figure, and that we humans should be in control of ourselves, that we humans should protect ourselves, and that godlike figures are evil and they're here to destroy us. So that part you gotta watch out for because that's what Hollywood is doing with all of their films. There's this agenda of promoting the absence of God, or if there is a God, that he's not all good, that he's not all merciful, or there are other gods there. And I'm probably gonna do one of these exposés on other films, and that's the idea. All right. So this was the part that I was also interested in sharing with you guys, that the movie has an agenda. There's an idea, a core message they're trying to put out there. This movie, even though it features some of the greatest superheroes in history, is not a kids movie. All right. There is no joy in it. There is no hope in it. Um, they go to extreme lengths to make sure that we see Superman as God, and then they kill him at the end of the movie. All right. And I'm thinking in the next movies, he's going to come back as an evil Superman. So that's my concern. They're taking a property that I grew up loving, one of the greatest characters ever. When they first were created, they were wholesome characters, inspirational characters. They were a way to teach children about hope, about high morals. And of course, the evil industry had to come in, take over, and now use them against us. And because we love them, we go see their movies, but now we're being bombarded with this evil propaganda. So watch out. Keep your spirit always alert, be vigilant, as one of the truthers out there on YouTube says, um, and don't be fooled by it. Don't be fooled by those messages. Keep your spiritual eyes open and watch out for those types of messages. Um, but if you still want to go see those movies, go enjoy them for what they are, for movies. But remember, there's an agenda, and they are trying to, push that agenda down our throats. Hollywood, we're not all dumb. We're not all complacent. We're all going to keep our eye on you, all right? And you're not going to fool us all. And many of us are going to be out there trying to warn people and let them know what you're really trying to do with our beloved characters, all right? I hate the way they portray Superman in this movie. He wasn't happy, he wasn't hopeful. That's one of the reasons I love the Supergirl show so much, is because it is hopeful. It is a happy show. It is a positive character. Talked about that in another video. So until next time, movie fans, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, like, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you soon. See ya.